Hi, and welcome to Horror Insomniac. Today we'll be looking at 3 stories, all generated by AI. Get ready, and don't fall asleep. It was a cold and foggy October night, and I was walking home from my late shift at work. I had to take the long way home, since the quickest route was blocked off due to the construction of a new power plant. As I walked, I felt a chill in the air, as if something sinister was lurking nearby. I quickened my pace, hoping to get home before whatever was out there could get me. But as I rounded a corner, I saw something that made my heart drop. Standing in front of me was a figure in a long black cloak. Its face was hidden in the darkness, but I could make out a pair of eyes glowing red in the night. I was frozen in fear, and before I knew it, the figure had moved closer to me. Suddenly, a feeling of great dread overcame me as I recalled the events of the past few days. It had been the anniversary of the Great Fire of London, the largest and most destructive fire in the history of England. Hundreds of homes and businesses had been destroyed, leaving thousands of homeless and destitute. The figure in the cloak somehow seemed to be a manifestation of the destruction and despair that had been caused by the fire. I was filled with terror, unable to move or speak. I could feel the radiating heat from the figure, as if it was trying to consume me. But just as I was about to turn and run, the figure slowly dissipated into the night. I stumbled home in a daze, feeling as if I had just seen a ghost. I had never been so scared in my life, and I knew that I would never forget that horrific experience. The memory of the figure in the cloak still haunts me to this day. Every time I walk the same route home, I find myself looking over my shoulder, perhaps expecting to see it again. I can't help but wonder if I'll ever be free from that nightmarish experience. It was the summer of 1692, and the small town of Salem, Massachusetts was living in fear. The town had been plagued by accusations of witchcraft, and the fear of being accused was enough to make most people avoid Salem altogether. I was visiting Salem with my family, and on our first day there, we decided to take a walk around the town. We were captivated by the town's eerie beauty and the cobblestone streets and the wooden houses with their white fences. It seemed so peaceful, but there was a strange darkness in the air that made us feel uneasy. We eventually stumbled upon a small gathering of people hanging around the town hall. As we got closer, we could see that they were holding signs that said, "Burn the witch." We moved closer to investigate and could see a young woman being dragged out of the town hall and towards a large crowd that had gathered. We quickly realized that this was a witch trial. The woman was accused of practicing witchcraft and of causing the recent crop failure in the town. We watched in horror as the woman was dragged up onto the platform, and the townspeople shouted for her to be dead. We were too afraid to speak up, and before we knew it, the woman was hanging by a noose around her neck. The entire town was silent as the woman's body swayed in the breeze. We all know this was the result of fear and that no one was safe from being accused of witchcraft. We also knew that this was just the beginning of the witch trials that would plague Salem throughout the summer. After the woman was hanged, we quickly made our way back to our lodging, not wanting to witness any more of the horrific events that were unfolding in Salem. We would never forget the terror of the witch trials and the fear that we felt that day. The witch trials of Salem would go on for months, and in that time, 19 people were executed for the crime of witchcraft. It was a dark time in history, and it serves as a reminder that fear can cause people to do unspeakable things. The night was eerily still as I walked down the old cobblestone path, the gas lamps barely providing enough light for me to make my way. I had heard stories of the dark and mysterious manor on the hill, but I never expected the horror I was about to witness firsthand. The manor was lush and grand, with its tall Gothic windows and stone walls. Yet, something was off about it. The air was thick with dread, and the darkness felt oppressive. Despite the chill in the air, I felt a wave of heat wash over me as I stopped onto the grounds. I moved closer to the entrance, my steps heavy and deliberate. My heart raced with excitement and fear as I reached for the large iron door knocker. I took a deep breath and rapped the knocker once, twice, 3 times. Suddenly, the door creaked open. I was greeted by a tall, thin man with a long hooked nose and beady eyes. He wore a black velvet cloak and a top hat, which made him look even more foreboding. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as he motioned me inside. I stepped into a large, dimly lit room. It was filled with furniture and artifacts from the past, but they all had an unsettling air about them. There were paintings of dark landscapes, eerie statues, and books full of occult knowledge. I was about to turn around and leave when the man reached for my arm. He whispered something in a language I didn't understand, and suddenly, a chill ran up my spine. I felt as if I was being watched. It was then that I noticed the old woman in the corner. She was shrouded in shadows and seemed to be muttering something under her breath. I felt my skin crawl as she slowly turned to face me. Her eyes were dark and her lips were drawn in a tight line. I backed away, my mind racing. It was then that I noticed the large painting on the wall. It depicted a scene from the Salem witch trials. Women and children being persecuted for their beliefs and accused of witchcraft. After that moment, I realized I had stumbled into a dark and sinister world. I quickly ran out of the manor, the old woman's laughter ringing in my ears. I didn't stop until I was far away from the cursed place. From that day on, I vowed to never return. I still have nightmares of that dark and mysterious manor on the hill and the horrors I witnessed inside it. If you've made it this far to the end, I just want to say thank you for watching, and it'd be a big help to the channel if you could subscribe, like, and comment. We'll be back with more scary stories soon.